Hello and welcome to Bend the Knee, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast. I am Sir Matt, the Bud Knight.
And I am Sir Ezra, the Watchful. Welcome to our Song of Ice and Fire book club. Today we are into Jon IX of Game of Thrones, and in the Maester's Study we will be covering Molestown.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that we're on this chapter because in this chapter, you know, we have Jon make some big, important life decisions.
Yeah, he does.
You know, he's should I go? Should I stay or should I go?
Right.
You know? And yeah, that's right where Sir Ezra's at.
That's
right
where
now.
I'm at right now. I am deciding should I stay or should I go. That's crazy. How do I put this? Let me just. So Jon swore. He said the words. He said the words. You know what? I've not said the words. Okay? So, if I haven't said the words, I can leave. And you know what?
True.
I can leave anytime I want. Here's the thing. Let's just have a little intervention here.
Should Sir Ezra quit his job that he hates?
That I hate.
Yes, is the answer.
Well, the crazy thing, and it's like, I would just say, in all seriousness, I have some big decisions to make here, I think, very soon. And I don't know, man. It's just like, mental health is important. Family is important. There are things that are, I don't know. You got to have your priorities straight, I think. And we only get one chance at this. You know, we get one life. We live once.
Hey, I encourage anybody who's working at a job that they hate to quit. Not worth it. That's my advice. That's my advice for the day.
That's Matt's advice. No, I mean, you know, there are a lot of factors, right? I mean, some people are like, well, I got 3 kids. I got this, I got that, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's in a different place. And sometimes I've been thinking a lot, like I was talking to a good buddy of mine, Lane, this weekend, and it's like, man, the only person who can really make the decision is me. It's you. You know, it's like if you're sitting in your chair, you're in your position, you know what's going on. And I don't know, man, that like you got to do what's best for you. Right?
Yeah.
So
hey, I'm all about it, man. You know, there's nothing. I mean, why should you? The way I view it is, why should you sit around and spend a year at a job you hate just for like a 50-cent pay raise?
Yeah.
Is that worth it? Nah, man. Just find something better. So.
Yeah. So
anyways, that's how I view it. I
get you. Yeah, and that's so a lot is happening. The episode's a little bit delayed for reasons. Like that, and yeah, I hope to be making a really happy announcement soon. So we shall see. I just need, like, I don't know, it's something's going on. You know, when it's like sign after sign after sign. Like I've been talking to Sir Matt, and it's like, well, this happened, then there's a sign here. It's like, how many signs do I need from R'hllor before I actually just, you know, give over to the flame? I don't know, man. So that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking about. And actually, I don't worship R'hllor. I'm sorry about that. I am of the old, you know, the old gods and their whisperings. You know, that's where I'm at. So, all right. So, anyways, okay. You know, enough about me, Sir Matt. Everything going well? You were at.
I did, man. I went to the.
You were at
I went to the Oregon Ducks game.
Were you at a Ducks game?
My girlfriend's dad has season tickets. You know, I'm not a Duck fan. Obviously, I'm a Buckeye fan. So I love hanging out with them because I just love to talk about that. You know, the first college football national championship. You know, it's great. It's great talking to him with it. You know, or bringing up that it was like the 2011 or 2009 Rose Bowl there with Terrell Pryor. You know, it was great too. So, but yeah, I know it was really cool. You know, that stadium is a lot smaller than I guess I thought. Like getting in. I mean, it's a really nice stadium. It's really pretty down there in Eugene, Oregon. Everybody who I hung out with was super cool. They're all super nice. They destroyed Montana, but I don't think anybody was expecting that because Oregon's ranked, I think, 15th or something like that. So, but it was nice. You know, a lot of food, hanging out, good game, really nice seats. So it was, it was a fun time.
Nice. It's awesome. That's good. That's good. Nice to get out and enjoy some football. Fall's coming. It's just a nice time, you know. So
Yeah, and I mean our Buckeyes, destroyed Indiana.
They
so
did.
That's always good. That's always good, man.
They did.
I always love that.
Oh man. Okay. Cool beans. Here we go. Heading over to the captain's report. So we've got Lord Robert, the Unfrozen of House Butler, keeping us up to date here. And so what was this one? Was let me try to find this real quick. Were we talking about Jon's parents?
I believe so.
In this one, there was another one too that came out recently. I can't ever keep track of whether we're ahead on the polls or we're behind on the polls. So we're gonna have to figure that out. But
once you quit your job, you'll have more time to be on top of all that. So
yeah, no kidding. I mean, like literally, no joke. People are like, "Wow, now you've said it, so you kind of have to do it, right?"
Yeah,
no,
it's expected.
No, it's just decisions and things, and yeah, you just gotta weigh the options here. Okay, let me find this real quick. So this is let's see, Mr. Butler, because we have Jon's parents, most recent from him. Oh, no. Well, okay, so we have two. So we've got his parents. Last week's results were Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. 71 votes. Holy cow. 71 votes. 5 votes for Eddard Stark and Ashara Dane, and 3 votes for Shmi Skywalker and the Force.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. You never know.
It's possible. It looks like this week we have going on, or maybe it's wrapping up today, is the Grand Northern Conspiracy. So we'll touch on that next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, should we head on over to the Maester study?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. You have pulled up here Molestown, right? So this is Jon heads there this week.
Yeah. Let me actually just pull it up here. So Molestown, we hear about it quite a bit, and we go there not very often, but it's that village that's just kind of south of Castle Black, and it's kind of a poor village. There's not really a lot there. There's really just kind of like, a couple houses, like a tavern, and like a brothel, which is where most of what we hear about the Night's Watch men, kind of running down to Molestown to hit that up. But there's a handful of events that kind of take place there. So it says 3/4 of the village is lie beneath ground in deep, damp, warm cellars and vaults connected by a warren of tunnels. Buildings above ground include like a smith, a stable, and a small number of just houses. They're kind of wood, kind of just think about like a tiny little village. I like to think about like Lord of the Rings. The prancing pony.
Oh yeah,
right?
over in Bree.
Yeah, that little village. It's same kind of thing. It's said that Brothers of the Night's Watch go to Molestown to dig or mine for buried treasure.
Wow,
which is just what they say. When they're heading over to the brothel there. But
yeah.
We go there a handful of times, and this is where Jon essentially will ride to today. He rides just past it, and then they kind of convince him to go back to Castle Black there. But
yeah,
there's a pretty cool picture on the wiki, and I mean it's kind of like it reminds me of Hogsmeade in Harry Potter. Hey, just that little town that's just right over there, and that's where these guys head from time to time.
Right. Yeah, I think it's neat that it is. It's buried beneath the ground. Like a lot of it is underneath the ground, so you can go in these different places. Like even today, the brothel, the way it's like this little shack. So it's nothing more than a shack that you enter like a privy or like an outhouse. It has a red lantern that's hung over the door, and that's how you get inside. It's kind of hysterical. I would love to be the king of Molestown. So
yeah, and that's where Sam takes Gilly. When Ygritte is and the Thenn are raiding, we see that in the show, right? And Ygritte does not kill Gilly and the baby, and so that's where they're at there. So
yep. So yeah, just a little bit on Molestown there. Pretty cool stuff. It's, as Sir Matt said, referenced a lot. So we'll come back to it in A Clash of Kings, A Storm of Swords, and in A Dance of Dragons.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Inn at the Crossroads, just in the north.
Yep.
So, okay, well, should we jump into the reread here, Sir Ezra?
Let's get after it.
All right, so last week we were in Tyrion 9, where news of Robb Stark's victory at River Run had prompted a vigorous debate amongst the Lannister men. After dismissing the officers, Lord Tywin details their precarious position to Tyrion and dispatches him to King's Landing to serve as the hand of the king and keep Joffrey from running them all, ruining everything essentially. And Tyrion decides to take Shay with him, despite what his father tells him. So the last time we were with Jon VIII, Jon is presented with the Valyrian steel sword Longclaw by Lord Commander Mormont. Jon attempts to refuse, but the commander insists. Later, Jon gets a message that Maester Aemon wants to see him. The Maester knows that Jon is divided between his duty and his family loyalties, and explains, that he sympathizes. When Jon rejects his empathy, the old man reveals that he is Aemon Targaryen, son of King Maker the First. So this week, Jon IX, Jon deserts in the middle of the night, determined to join his brother Robb in the quest for vengeance. South of Molestown, his friends catch up with him and bring him back. In the morning, Lord Commander Mormont reveals that he knows about the night's events and convinces Jon to stay and join him on a great ranging beyond the wall. Yeah, there's some other family he has to help out with.
Yeah, that's right. Epic. This is a good chapter, and it's a good moment for Mormont too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right. As always, we'll read the first little paragraph here. The mare whickered softly as Jon Snow tightened the cinch. "Easy, sweet lady," he said in a soft voice, quieting her with a touch. Wind whispered through the stable, a cold, dead breath on his face, but Jon paid it no mind. He strapped his roll to the saddle, his scarred fingers stiff and clumsy. "Ghost," he called softly, "to me." And the wolf was there, eyes like embers. "Jon, please, you must not do this." He mounted the reins in his hand and wheeled the horse around to face the night. Samwell Tarly stood in the stable door, a full moon peering over his shoulder. He threw his giant shadow immense and black. "Get out of my way, Sam."
Yeah, good old Sam. He's just trying to help a friend out. As I said, Jon has said the words. Okay.
Yeah, as is Sam.
Yeah, he has. So it's pretty cool how, like, in George's writing, they've all said the words, and if you were going high fantasy, then like, oh, you're bound to your words, and no one ever questions it. That everyone stays, but really, that's not the case. That's not reality. There are some people who struggle with it, and the reason Jon will struggle here is because, like, his father's been killed, his brother's riding to war. I mean, it's, what's he supposed to do? And so that instant knee jerk, especially for a young man here, the knee jerk reaction is to ride off to war. Like, forget it. They're just words.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's the only family he just lost his father. We know they have one of the sisters. We don't know about the other one. He's in this position. You got to think about the way information travels during, in this setting here, is it's all by ravens. So it's not really like you hear rumors, and we hear that a lot too, especially like in the next book where everyone's kind of gets a little more spread out. We see it a lot with Arya as she's traveling around. You hear rumors about what Robb's doing. You hear rumors about this and this, and that's the way it goes. So that's what you've got to imagine Jon is hearing and thinking too about what's going on with his family.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing too, something that struck me when I was reading this chapter is Jon comes to Castle Black and he's looking for maybe like belonging. It's just weird how he's torn. He has his siblings, air quote siblings, his father, no mother. He's got his Uncle Benjen, who he can go with, and he's always felt really close with him. And he goes up here looking for a type of belonging. While he's there, really, his other friends who actually ride him down and will find him, they almost connect with him more. It's like they also were looking for belonging and this fellowship or this brotherhood to be a part of. And it's not until this moment, I think, that Jon really realizes that he's a part of something now, and he has a place, and he belongs, he's got a purpose, and he knows what he's supposed to do, sort of, I guess. That's what Commander Mormont will give him, and that's what Sam is trying to do here. They're all trying to show him that you're one of us now. We're together. We're in this together. And they I think, are happier with that. Sam also being shunned by his father and not really having a place there. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, his mom loved him and his sister and things, but it's just everyone wants to have friends and find a place where you belong and stuff. And it seems like they had bonded up until this point, and Jon just kind of gets overwhelmed by this idea that he has to go help his brother.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right on that. What would Jon have had he stayed in Winterfell? Yeah, I mean, he talks about it. He's like, I could have done this, I could have done that, but it just wasn't the thing for him. So I mean, I think for Jon, I mean, he doesn't really know this, but the potential in the books, about of his birth, obviously, but had he stayed, he would have just immediately gone with Robb and fought and been fighting anyway. So
and been killed at the Red Wedding. Yep.
I mean, it's possible, man. I mean, Jon Snow, we see he almost dies. At least, he gets from the show, right? He almost dies in the Battle of the Bastards. He gets beat up a lot in a lot of other battles. I mean, it's definitely possible.
I mean, in the show, he dies and comes back. In the books, he's dead. Okay, so let's just get that straight. Right.
So,
all right, cool. So, but he rides past Sam and takes off. Right, and he's out in this. It talks about the moonlight silvered the hills as he followed the twisting ribbons of the King's Road. He needed to get as far away from the wall as he could before they realized he was gone. On the morrow, he could leave the road and strike out overland through field and brush and stream to throw off the pursuit, but for the moment, speed was more important than deception. And he kind of talks about, I guess, if he were to cut across land, it's like it's going to be slower, or the countryside. He could, the horse could break a leg, he could be thrown from it, break a neck, all that good stuff, and it's just not something he's interested in doing right now. He thinks speed is the way to go. And he kind of curses himself later for taking the King's Road and being so obvious about just riding out.
Right. Well, I mean, he says here, it says the old bear was accustomed to rise at first light, so Jon had until dawn to put as many leagues as he could between him and the wall, if Sam did not betray him. The fat boy was dutiful and easily frightened, but he loved Jon like a brother. If questioned, Sam would doubtless tell them the truth, but Jon could not imagine him braving the guards in front of the king's tower to wake Mormont from sleep. So yeah, I mean that Jon, your best chance is to, if you're going to do this right, is to get as far away as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not really like the Night's Watch have a huge party to be able to send after a deserter at this point. So
yeah. Well, and the crazy thing is, though, I mean, just to kind of, because we've all read the chapter and just to jump around here, it's like at this point in time, Mormont has a watch on him, right? They've set a watch and they're out waiting for him. So there's a net to cast out there. He knows. And I don't know. It's almost like Jon needed to do this and then show his hand, I guess, for Mormont to call him out. I mean, if he would have said ahead of time, hey, I've got a net cast and you're not going to be able to make it out of here, well, then maybe he bides his time. He hides, he buries those feelings, and we don't deal with it. And I think so what Mormont does in not telling him that I'm keeping a watch on you. I mean, he kind of was, actually. He did know to some degree, right, until he saved Mormont that there was a watch set on him. But he's still keeping a close eye on him here. And Jon also is struggling with is he doing the right thing? So even as he's riding, we have this character development taking place, this inner kind of dialogue, these thoughts of him deciding, what is his brother going to think about this? What would his father think of him saying the words and then leaving the Night's Watch? He even says that he has no one to really talk to except for the old gods who don't really talk back, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, and I like that. John talks about it a little bit, later here when he's talking about how would he, like how you have to like ditch your clothes essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like if you were to abandon the wall, Sir Ezra, how would you do it?
Well, he talks about it. I think
if you were to desert, how would you go about it?
Well, first, let me say one thing. If you're Jon and this event happens and he's just trying to get out of there quickly, it's kind of a dead giveaway. Right. You'd almost want to bide your time and sort of like plan it out more. He just rushes off because he's impulsive and he's young. If you really were trying, let's say you're a veteran there and you're just sort of like, I'm done with this.
Right. Much like you are with your job.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would go ranging north of the wall. I'd pull a Benjamin Stark. He is over in Essos, or maybe he sailed west of Westeros. Okay, and he's just enjoying himself over, I don't know, on some beach or some shore. He's having a good time. I would go on a ranging and I would disappear.
That's how you would do it. You would do it north of the wall? Man, that does not. I would totally do it south of the wall.
Yeah,
and all you gotta do is change your clothes. I mean, that's why they find, oh God, who's the guy at the very beginning of the book?
In the prologue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name right now, but that's how they find him, is because he's wearing the black.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is not be wearing the black, and then you're pretty much set to go, because nobody's gonna question whether you were in the Night's Watch or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It was a Will or Jared, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, it's one of those two. It's one of those two. I'd have to go look, but
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jon talks a little bit more about here about what, like, he starts to have a little like kind of, I guess, remorse or regret. He's clearly thinking about it. It says, like, when Jon did not appear to fetch the old bear's breakfast from the kitchen, they'd look in his cell and they'd find Longclaw on the bed. It had been hard to abandon it, but Jon was not so lost to honor to take it with him. Even Jorah Mormont had not done that. When he fled in disgrace, doubtless Lord Mormont would find someone more worthy of the blade. Jon felt bad when he thought of the old man. He knew his desertion would be salt in the still raw wound of his son's disgrace. That seemed a poor way to repay him for his trust, but it couldn't be helped. No matter what he did, Jon felt as though he was betraying someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. What's he supposed to do? I mean, he's in a tough spot, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, and let's see here. So he's writing. He's thinking about all those things, that inner debates happening. He refers back to Tyrion Lannister, right? He claimed that most men would rather deny a hard truth than face it, but Jon was done with denials. He was who he was. He was a bastard. He was an oath breaker, motherless, friendless, damned, all these different things. So he really is kind of just like, this is who I am. Fine. I'm this type of person. And he puts himself in this category where people categorize bastards and they think they're untrustworthy. We talked about that with Bloodraven and how even Egg sort of views bastards as being evil and not someone you can trust and what have you. So he lumps himself in with that lot, and it's not good, because he's making a poor choice. And he's settled, right, in his desertion. I mean, he's deserting, and it is actually his friends who are going to convince him to come back.
Yeah.
Well, they bring him back, and then it's Mormont who has the final sort of, actually convinces him.
Yeah, I mean, he talks a little bit here too about, it's just, so as he's kind of riding out, when the last lights of Castle Black vanished behind him, Jon slowed his mare to a walk. He had a long journey ahead, and the only horse to see him. This was the only horse he had to see him through. So he talks about a little bit about how, like, I need to, kind of pace my horse here. He would need to find new clothes soon. He was clad in black from head to heal, high leather riding boots, rough spun breeches and tunics, sleeveless leather jerkin, heavy wool cloak. Even his longsword and dagger were sheathed in black moleskin. It says a stranger wearing black was viewed with cold suspicion in every village and holdfast north of the Neck, just because a lot of people, know, especially up there, oh, this is probably a deserter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It says not even. It said Bran might want to even let him in, but Maester Luwin had better sense. He would bar the gates and send Jon away, as he should.
Yeah, as he should. Yeah. Man, so he's starting to realize what people are going to say when his family, right? Those who really.
Well, I mean, what would happen if he showed up at Robb's encampment?
Robb would take his head.
I don't know that Robb would take his head, but it's certainly Catelyn would call him a deserter, and
someone would take his head.
All of this stuff, yeah. I mean, it's like it's northern men. Like even if you just tried to go in without Robb knowing, surely other people would be like, "Oh, you're Jon Snow."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're Eddard Stark's bastard. I mean, he would be. I think he would be found out pretty quickly when you're hanging out with northern men, who a lot of them
Yeah,
I mean,
it really, and he doesn't know whether we're getting to Robb becoming king, and so he doesn't know whether he could even have the authority to release him from his vow and all that kind of stuff. And
absolutely,
and the other thing with the Night's Watch is that like they're different from the rest of the realm. Actually, they are their own thing. I mean, they're
mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I think it'd be a huge test for Robb, especially if he were found out in front of the other men. It's like, what are you going to do? And then there's probably going to be disagreements about what should be done. Did he say the words? Did he not? Because how do you know? I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to contact Mormont and say, did he say the words? That'll take some time. If you're wearing the black, then yeah, it's a dead giveaway. But they know he went up there. Did he just not say him and then he left or something? And he's just on his own. So
I don't know though. Aren't they wearing black before they take their vows? Like as soon as you show up, you kind of get fitted. Because Sam, remember they talked about. I mean, it's not like full garb, but
I think you have an option to leave. Well, unless you're sent up there, unless you're sent up there for criminal reasons or whatever. But I think.
Do they ever say what happens to women?
What do you mean?
I mean, women don't have the option of taking the black.
No.
I wonder if they just have to join, like, what is it, like, they have to join, like, the faith, essentially.
Yeah, yep, exactly, the silent.
But I was thinking about this week when I was reading, I was like, I don't know if it's ever exactly said what happens to women criminals, since they don't have
what
that
are their
option
options?
of taking the black. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's to join the faith. Yep, pretty sure. So, but, yeah, anyways. Okay, we haven't mentioned Ghost yet. So Ghost is with him this whole way too, right? So Ghost is out kind of tracking, doing different things. It's neat that Ghost at one point falls back. And so it's like he hears things way ahead of Jon hearing stuff. And he kind of knows what's going on. He's in tune with the land because he was trying to keep up, right? Ghost is trying to keep up. And Jon sees it as well. He just kind of fell back because he can't keep pace with the horse, and so he'll catch up later eventually or whatever. But I think it's more than that. I think Ghost sort of knows they're being followed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because I don't know. I think Ghost could keep up. Okay.
Me too. I actually think he's a dire wolf. He's not a regular wolf.
He's a dire wolf, man. He's not a regular wolf. They're totally different.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, let's get to the part here where Ghost has left him, and he's asking where he's at. He's calling to him, right? He's wanting to know where Ghost is at. He pulls out his he had a little bit of biscuit and cheese, right? While his mare grazed along the King's Road, and then he also had an apple that he had saved too. Just want to point out.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
And he kind of he kind of shows up here as at Molestown. This is right about when he gets here to Molestown. He's gonna hang out for a second. It says Molestown was bigger than it seemed. The 3/4 of it was underground and deep warm cellars. It says even the whorehouse was down there. Nothing on the surface but a wooden shack, no bigger than a privy, with a red lantern hung over the door.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Buried treasure, my friend.
Yeah, he talks about this was oath breaking too, yet no one seemed to care. But it's not necessarily oath breaking. It's it, and this is something I like that they discuss a little bit, where it says they never, and Sam even says this too. Although Sam, I guess, totally does break it Uh, well, I mean, in the show, right at the very end, where Gilly's pregnant because he is then fathering children. But at that point, the Night's Watch doesn't even exist anymore. So, and the wall's not there, so who cares? It says that they should father no children. Does not say you can't lay with a woman. Just says father no children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but Jon says here, that was oath breaking too, yet no one seemed to care. So they do care if you desert, but not if you sleep around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So yeah, and he's not going to go real close to Molestown. He's out there on the outskirts, right? And he,
right.
Let's see. After he's sitting there eating a little bit, he talked about he had brought some salt beef as well, a rasher of bacon, all these good, good things. Things he would have brought more, all this kind of stuff. So he's sitting under the trees, eating here, getting a snack, and then he hears, right? Doesn't he hear the pursuit?
Right. Yeah. Well, just before that though, he it says the snow melt was icy cold. He drank and he splashed some on his face until his cheeks tingled. His fingers were throbbing, worse than they had in days, and his head was pounding too. Am I doing the right thing? He told himself. So why do I feel so bad?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's kind of just sitting there thinking about it. But then that's right here when it says he hears something. Yeah, off in the trees, a distant scream of a frightened animal made him look up. His mare whined nervously. Had his wolf found some prey? Ghost, ghost to me. Then you hear like an owl. I'll take flight. He's yelling. He's ghost. Where are you? Ghost. Where are you? And so he thinks maybe it's a bear or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's hearing the voices of as they get closer. He hears them talking, and Pip and Gren and going back and forth, conversing about.
Certain he came this way. We can't be certain. He could have ridden east for all you know, or left the road to cut through the woods. That's what I'd do. In the dark, and they're just talking back and forth, and stuff like that. They're basically calling each other stupid. All this kind of all this kind of stuff. It's great. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. And then he's sort of like he's upset that they're there because he's thinking, darn it, if come dawn, if they're not in their beds, they'll be named deserters too. And I think he has not that you can just freely ride off to wherever you want, but I don't think just riding in the countryside. I don't know what the exact rules are because the Night's Watch owns, or they farm, or they have some land there. So I don't know how far away he is in terms of Molestown, in terms of the gift or the new gift and all that kind of stuff. But he's thinking
maybe he just thinks because they're with him.
Yeah, maybe.
And he specifically left Longclaw there, so they're immediately going to think, oh, he's deserting, and then he took his friends with him.
Yeah, that could be, and so he's going to have to. Yeah, he doesn't want them to be found with him. So yeah. They don't really hear anything for a bit. There's some back and forth, right? And then, let's see. Out of the corner of his eye, Jon glimpsed a pale shape moving through the trees. Leaves rustled, and Ghost came bounding out of the shadows, so suddenly that Jon's mare started and gave a whinny. There, Halder said. I hear it too. Traitor, Jon told the direwolf, right? He's like, oh, gosh. He jumps out. I mean, he could have been more stealthy, but here he is. Here's the location. Does he know? Is Ghost under the influence of Bloodraven at this time?
I mean, hey, it's possible.
It's possible. Oh man, so they kind of circle him up here, don't they? It's like 1 against 7, right?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, pull up. Gren said, you can't outrun us all. Jon wheels around to face them. Get back. I don't wish to hurt you, but I will if I have to. 1 against 7, they say. Jon's like, what do you want with me? He says, I belong with my brother. We're your brothers now. They'll cut your head off if they catch you. This is so stupid. It's like something the Aurochs would do. So then they're just kind of yelling at each other. Jon says, they murdered my father. It's war. My brother Robb is fighting in the Witherlands. They say, we know. Sam told us everything. We're sorry about your father, but it doesn't matter. Once you say the words, you can't leave no matter what. But then They go right here. Now my watch begins, you said it, and it shall not end until my death.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just some possible foreshadowing there.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I love that they all kind of say the words, right? Gran, I shall live and die at my post. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, you don't have to tell me the words. I know them as well as you do. Why couldn't they let him just go in peace? I am the sword in the darkness, the watcher on the walls.
Yeah.
I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch for this night and all the nights to come.
Yeah. It's great. So Jon reaches over, grabs his reins, and says, "So here are your choices: kill me, or no, sorry, they say so. So here are your choices: kill me or come back with me." Jon lifts his sword and lowers it. Damn you, damn you all.
Yeah.
They say, "Do we have to bind your hands?" He says, "I won't run." Then he looks at Ghost. He says, "Small help you were," right?
Yeah.
And it's like Ghost leads him right to him. So
right.
We had best hurry. So then, basically they got to race back.
They do before dawn.
Now that now they're going to race back. He says, but fortunately, he says they made good time. Dawn was still an hour off when Jon glimpsed the towers of Castle Black ahead of them. Dark against the pale immensity of the wall, it did not seem like home this time. They could take him back, Jon told himself, but they could not make him stay. This war would not end on the morrow or the day after, and his friends could not watch him day and night. He was bide his time, make them think he was content to remain there, and then when they'd grow lax, he would be off again. This time he's thinking about different ways he could do it, right? He could follow the wall east, perhaps all the way to the sea, a longer route but a safer one, or even west to the mountains and south over the high passes. That was the wildling's way, hard and perilous, but at least no one would follow him. He would stay within 100 leagues of Winterfell or the Kingsroad. Yeah, would be smart if that was actually what you wanted to do. But so they get there. Says Sam awaited them in the old stables, slumped on the ground against a bale of hay too, anxious to sleep. He rose and brushed himself off. I'm glad they found you, Jon. And Jon's like, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's upset. I mean, he's still going to be planning to leave, but he's got duties to attend to. They're all a little bit like, oh, it's going to be a long day. Thanks, Jon. This sucks. But so he'll get back to his steward duties here, and he'll come across Mormont, right? So within the hour.
When the day broke, Jon walked to the kitchens as he did every dawn. Three-fingered Hob said nothing and gave him the old bear's breakfast. Today it was 3 brown eggs boiled hard with fried bread, ham steak, and a bowl of wrinkled plums. Sir Ezra, you and I made that. We made that out of the World of Ice and Fire cookbook. So he goes in. The Raven is, corking corn. Put the food on the table, the old bear said, glancing up, and I'll have some beer. Best way to start the day, right?
Yeah, a little beer.
Ham, steak, and beer.
Yep.
Okay, sign me up.
That's funny. Yeah, he claimed that he drank lemon in his beer every day, and claimed that was why he still had his own teeth.
Hey, a lot of people do that, man.
Think about that.
Put some lemon or orange or lime in there.
Yeah.
He says, doubtless you loved your father. The things we love destroy us every time, lad. Remember when I told you that? I remember, Jon said. And see that you never forget it. So Jon says to him with his throat kind of dry, like, no, the Raven echoed. Do you think they chose me as the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch because I'm dumb as a stump, Snow? Aemon told me you'd go. I told him you'd be back. I know my men, and I know my boys too. Honor set you on the King's Road, and honor brought you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he says, my friends brought me back. Did I say it was your honor? That's
right.
Like, I love that. I love that line. That's one of the best lines of the chapter.
Yeah, they were looking out for their brother. They were. He was bailing, and they knew it would cause him. There would be heavy consequences to pay, and he wasn't thinking right, so they had to track him down and bring him back, and that's that. They were honor bound to do that, so it's cool, really cool. But
Yeah, he says, I order them keep a watch over you. You are seen leaving. If your brothers had not fetched you back, you would have been taken along the way, and not by friends, unless you have a horse with wings like a raven. Well, I mean, maybe he gets something like that later.
Yeah.
Do you? Jon felt like a fool. No. Pity we could use a horse like that. I mean,
Wow.
yeah, the Daenerys' dragons seem to do a pretty good job. So
yeah. I don't know, man. We found out in Fire and Blood they can't go north of the wall. Something's up, right?
Right.
So,
basically, the conversation just kind of continues on between them, and then Mormont kind of changes it, changes the subject here about because he says, we've got bigger fish to fry, right?
Yeah.
He says, He says, your father is dead. Do you think you can bring him back? No. He answered sullen. Good, Mormont said. We've seen the dead come back, you and me, and it's not something I care to see again. He says, your brother is in the field with all the power of the north behind him, and any one of his lord's bannermen commands more swords than you'll find in all the Night's Watch. Why do you imagine that they need your help? You are such a mighty warrior. Are you such a mighty warrior, or do you carry a grumpkin in your pocket to magic up your sword? Then the old bear says, you're not the only one touched by this war. Like it or not, my sister is marching in your brother's host. Her and those daughters of her dressed in men's mail. Mage is she's an old snark, stubborn, short-tempered, and willful. Truth be told, I can hardly stand to be around the wretched woman, but that does not mean my love for her is any less than the love you bear for your sisters.
Yeah. He's kind of making the it's like, really, what is one sword going to do there?
Right.
Like what, are you some master swordsman, some master commander? If you're Jaime Lannister and you can command troops and you're whatever, then sure, you can inspire men and all that kind of stuff. He hasn't done that yet.
He hasn't done that yet.
He doesn't have those experience points yet. So
yeah. Then I just like this line here. My place is here. Where is yours, boy?
Yeah.
So he's, so the words could not come. I do not know. I do. The Lord Commander said. The cold winds are rising. Snow beyond the wall. The shadows lengthen. Cotter Pike writes of vast herds of elk steaming south, the east towards the sea, and mammoths as well. He says one of his men discovered huge misshapen footprint not 3 leagues from Eastwatch. Rangers from the Shadow Tower have found whole villages abandoned, and at night, Sir Danes says they see fires in the mountains, huge blazes that burn from dusk till dawn. Corn Halfhand took a captive in the depths of the gorge, and the man swears that Mance Rayder is massing all of his people in some new secret stronghold he's found. To what end, the gods only know. But do you think your Uncle Benjen was the only ranger we've lost this past year? Yeah. Benjen, the raven squawked. Benjen.
Wow. Yeah, so it's like, what I like about this is that Mormont finally is revealing kind of his inner thoughts. Like, he's getting the tippy top guy at the Night's Watch he's speaking with, the Lord Commander, and we've talked about the Lord Commander possibly grooming him for takeover, and that this is more of an honor than he thinks it is, and all that good stuff. But he's showing him what he's thinking. He's like, I'm not an idiot here. I can feel the wind changing. When Jon was in the stable at the beginning of this chapter, or just outside of Castle Black, it talked about the dead winds, and the death was in every other line. It seemed like when they described the way things looked and the way things felt as he left. So it's like all the men at the Night's Watch feel that and they sense it. So Jor kind of he knows what's up here, and he's letting Jon in on that. And he's like, we're going to mass our own host, right? That's what he says. They're going to form their own host and ride out.
Yeah, absolutely. He says, do you think your brother's war is more important than ours? I mean, that should be a line that sticks with Jon throughout the remainder of his character, because that's essentially, what it is. It's like the war of the dead, right? We see that in season 7 and season 8 is way more important than, well, I guess I shouldn't say that, but
yeah.
But that's what we thought, at least, and that's probably the way it's going to go here in the books, where that war is more important.
Yeah.
He says, "Your Lord Father sent you to us, Jon. Who can say why?" There's a question for you.
Yeah. Who can say why?
Yeah. "All I know is that the blood of the first men flows in the veins of the Starks. The first men built the wall, and it is said they remember things otherwise forgotten. And that beast of yours, he led us to the Whites, warned you of a dead man on their steps. Sir Jeremy would doubtlessly call that happenstance. Yet Sir Jeremy is dead, and I'm not. Lord Mormont stabbed a chunk of ham with the point of his dagger. I think you were meant to be here, and I want you and that wolf of yours with us when we go beyond the wall." Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because like Mormont is showing him that it's funny, the further south you go, all of the rumors and the grumpkins and the snarks and the children and the giants, it's all fable, it's all story, right? Mm-hmm. Not to Mormont. He's too close to it, and he's too smart to not understand what's happening. And he's like, I've heard all those stories.
Those in the north, man, it seems like the further north you get, and all the wildlings are like, you don't know what's beyond. Like,
exactly.
I mean, OSHA says, yeah, you don't know, you haven't seen what I've seen.
Exactly. Yeah, so how can you speak to it? You've never been up there. You don't understand. The wind feels different there. Something stirring.
Yeah, you heard me. I mean to find Benjen Stark alive or dead. I will not sit here meekly and wait for the snows and the ice winds. We must know what is happening. This time the Night's Watch will ride in force against the king beyond the wall, the others, and any else that may be out there. I mean to command them myself. He pointed his dagger at Jon's chest. By custom, the Lord Commander's steward is his squire as well, but I do not care to wake every dawn wondering if you've run off again. So I will have an answer from you, Lord Snow, and I will have it now. Are you a brother of the Night's Watch, or only a bastard boy who wants to play at war? Let's go.
Oh, man. Mormont can fire you up, right? I mean,
it's great.
Yeah. Are you a brother of the Night's Watch? Are you? Are you actually? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because your other brothers who, they don't have as much prowess. They're not military guys. They're cooks. They're small folk, right? And they had more honor, and they went and retrieved him on the road and brought him back. They are brothers of the Night's Watch. So now it's like Jon's got to step up. I mean, this is a call to action, right? It's now or never. Answer now. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am yours, my lord, your man, I swear it, I will not run again. The old bear snorted, good, now go put on your sword.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
It's time. And it's pretty cool as a reader the first time to think like, because you thought you've been hearing that the Night's Watch is a joke, all this kind of stuff, but and you don't know what's going on. Now you're like, holy cow, they're going to war too? There's something worth going, like, we've been hearing about the king beyond the wall in the first couple of chapters.
Yeah, first couple of chapters, and now it's coming back up. Mance Rayder, man.
Mance Rayder.
Yeah, so.
And he's so not what we expect, too, by the way, when we meet him. It's great.
Not at all, yeah.
It's great.
So, all right, well.
Whew. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Great chapter. Excited. Now the stuff with the Night's Watch just really picks up, and it's a lot of fun to read those chapters, too, so. It's kind of funny how Dany and Jon's stories really, they weren't as exciting. They were kind of blah and mundane to start this book, and then they pick up here at the end, and then they're really going to take off in the next book. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that because it's just that they're so far away from everyone else. I mean, Jon's is a little bit easier just because Tyrion is there at the beginning, so it's like you feel that connection. But yeah, as you said, Dany's is so far away. We really only hear of her like once or twice. I mean, we really only hear of her, the handful of times that Robert Baratheon is like freaking out about her over in Essos. So, and Jon's is the same. But then later we start to get Sam chapters as well, and so that expands the kind of the Night's Watch stories, and it becomes such a bigger part. So, as things get infinitely much more spread out in the next book, which we're like almost there.
Yeah, gearing up for it now. Okay, So let's dive in here. We've got a Raven for you guys this week. I think we might have a couple. But let's see. We've got a Raven from Sir Chris. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of about Sir Arthur Dayne. He says that seeing that Sir Arthur Dayne is by far my favorite character and the best swordsman in A Song of Ice and Fire. That's right, Sir Matt. Better than Sir Barristan Selmy. I'm down for a trial by combat over it if it comes to that. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. I just started thinking about a theory that could have given him a larger role in the series if he hadn't have died at the Tower of Joy. The Tower of Joy scene is one of my favorite moments in the series, second only to the King of the North scene. Sorry if the theory is all over the place or has plot holes. I wanted to know what you guys thought about it. Really hope you enjoy it. As always, appreciate your podcast, good sir. So here we go. This is his theory about Sir Arthur Dayne. My theory is that Lyanna and Rhaegar knew it was likely that they wouldn't survive much longer, and so they entrusted Sir Arthur Dayne with the responsibility of raising Jon in secret. If they had planned on living past the birth, why wouldn't Rhaegar send with them a maester? In the show, Ned asked for a maester, but there are none. I also find it hard to believe that Rhaegar thought he would make it out of the Battle of the Trident alive, considering he only dropped his books and picked up a sword a couple of years prior. Why Arthur Dayne instead of Ned? Because Ned had already been married to Catelyn and had Robb. Knowing his reputation for having incredible honor as well, they knew that passing Jon Jaehaerys off as a bastard-born son of Ned would be hard to believe by most. Also, how did they know Ned even knew where Lyanna was? Lyanna was captured at least 9 months before that day, so the two probably didn't think anyone would find them. Dayne, however, was not only a devoted and honorable knight willing to do anything for his prince, but he was also from Dorne. Dorne has a history of holding their own against even Aegon the Conqueror and appear as their own entity, much like the North. This would make it easier to hide Jon Jaehaerys from Robert, especially because Robert would be married to a Lannister whom the Martells hate. It would be harder to hide him with Ned right under Robert's nose. In the event that the child would show Targaryen traits, Ned wouldn't be able to call him his bastard unless he admitted to sleeping with a Targaryen, which would be seen as a betrayal by Robert. However, the Danes are known for having purple or dark blue eyes and even pale blonde silver hair. So in the event that Arthur Dayne had to pass off the child as his, he could. The part of the story I think the show portrayed incorrectly is when Arthur Dayne prepares to kill Ned. I think in the books, he will not have any intention on killing Ned. He even wishes Ned good luck in the wars to come. This leads me to believe Arthur Dayne had no intention of dying, as well as no intention of killing Ned. He is said by Gurm himself as being better than Sir Barristan Selmy when wielding Dawn, and Jaime Lannister tells Loras Tyrell that Sir Arthur Dayne could have taken him along with 5 other knights using his left hand while, quote, taking a piss. If that's true, he must have been confident that he would not be killed in the fight. He had to kill the others, however, because only Ned could be trusted with the secret of his nephew. In the show, sorry for going back and forth between book and show, you can clearly see that Dayne is torn because he doesn't want to kill all of these men who believe what they are doing is right, but knows what must be done according to his oath. Before getting the chance to talk to Ned, Hallan Reed sees Ned disarmed and stabs Sir Arthur Dayne in the back, leaving Ned to believe that, quote, if it weren't for Hallan Reed, I'd be dead. This forced Lyanna to go with option 2, giving the baby to Ned to be raised as his bastard. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like basically the plan was for Dayne to raise the child, to protect the child, to leave. Hopefully they're never found out at the Tower of Joy, right? Hopefully that never happens, and then you take the child to Dorne or to wherever, and the child is raised maybe by his sister or who knows. But that didn't happen because of Hallan Reed. Howland Reed kind of messes up and doesn't realize that, oh, this guy's actually trying to help us all, and Dane has orders to only trust Eddard Stark. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think that Dane was the option number one, and then now, because he's dead, we have to call an audible, and we hand this child to Ned. What if he would have had Targaryen traits?
Yeah, it's interesting. I got the map. I got the map pulled up here of the Robert's Rebellion.
Yeah,
and just so the first battle, right, is the battle at Gulltown, right? That's in the Eyrie, right, when Jon Arryn says, "Okay, we're going. We're launching the war." And then you kind of look at where things go. You've got the battles at Summerhall. Then you go over to the Battle of Ashford, and then you go all the way up to the Battle of the Bells, which is like in the Riverlands. Then you go even further north to the Battle of the Trident. So when Rhaegar dies, it's interesting just thinking about where Jon where pregnant Lyanna is at the time, because they go all the way from Ashford, which is in the Reach, to the Battle of the Bells, which is all the way up in the Riverlands, and then the Trident, which is at you're getting right there in the neck, if not almost in the north. It just seems like they get further and further away from the Tower of Joy.
Yeah,
and so I'm obviously a lot of that has to do with Robert's movement as well, but just kind of interesting to think that they were really close and they get really far away.
Yeah.
And if that was maybe Rhaegar wanted to have the battle at the Trident, because it seems like they're racing around to get Robert, but I feel like the war could have been a lot easier. And maybe it's just because Ned Stark was bringing his men down, so they're also just thinking about strategically where they decided, where they were marching their forces. So if they were just chasing Robert, because Storm's End's just down the street from King's Landing.
Mm-hmm.
If you take Storm's End, then you've got the entire South, right?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to chase Robert and these men around, if you secure Storm's End, you've got Dorne in your back pocket, you've got the Reach on your side too. If you secure the Storm's lands, who cares about where Robert Baratheon is, because then it's just you versus the North.
Yeah.
And then Tywin Lannister's just sitting there, so maybe you could then convince him to join because it looks like you're gonna do it. But I don't know, maybe that's also something we'll find out about Rhaegar's plan in the books later, because it's maybe he wanted the battle at the Trident because it was a lot further away.
Yeah, he could have. That's a good point. I see what you're saying. Yeah, to move it away from Lyanna and his unborn child. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, wow. Yeah. Thanks, Sir Chris. I enjoyed reading that, and I think that's it. Probably. Likely could very well be. Mm-hmm. We know Sir Arthur Dayne's extremely trusted by Rhaegar, and
mm-hmm.
So
because think about it, when in the show, we missed you at the Trident. Well, we were really far away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So just interesting something there. So. Okay, so we just have another one here from Lady Erin. She just says, Sir Matt and Sir Ezra, I just wanted to send a huge thank you for your podcast. I'm a part-time stay-at-home mom with 2 baby girls, and my favorite time of the day is when I get to push my youngest in the stroller and listen to you guys. Seriously, some days you are the break that is saving my sanity. She says, I'm a show watcher turned book reader thanks to your encouragement. I binge watched the show in 2016, then watched the other seasons as they came out. The second baby was born last summer. She says she shares her birthday with Harry Potter, which basically made her life. And she spent her first month sleeping through the rewatch. During season 8, I wanted to hear everything I could about the show and listen to a bunch of different podcasts at first. Soon I found yours, and I wanted to hear. She says, you're the only one I wanted to hear because you guys were positive. I love Game of Thrones, and I love season 8 too. I don't mind criticism, but it disappointed me to hear loyal Game of Thrones fans trashing the show after so many seasons supporting it. You gave me hope. Season 8 doesn't have to be the way I leave Westeros. I can dive into the series as a whole world it creates. So now I and often my whole family are listening to the reread. You guys are smart, entertaining, dedicated, and fully on board with whatever Game of Thrones has in store. Next, true loyal fans, thank you and for giving me this world to escape to. Lady Erin. She says, P.S. When the long night, if that or blood, whatever it ultimately ends up becoming, was airing, she's about the episode. When the long night was airing, both babies started crying, and I just let it happen. I was so captivated, I felt like part of a rare worldwide TV moment. It's not negligent; they'll understand one day.
Yes, they will.
She says, P.S. Your podcast is perfect, but I'm totally in support of more than one chapter a week if that format ever inspires you. Yeah.
It may.
First of all, thank you, Lady Arian. Yeah, any positive ravens will immediately be read on the show. That's your best way to it's like the more I think about season 8, stuff we said, I feel like it's rushed, but the further we get away from it, the further I still remember how amazing the rest of the show is. And there's still parts I love the long night. I love the first 3 episodes. The first 3 episodes are amazing. And when I think back to other shows, a lot of shows' final seasons are not very good.
Hard to finish them. Yeah.
When I think about the TV show Heroes, everyone's like, "Oh, the first season was amazing."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was.
Yeah. Well, it's still amazing.
That's right.
Tons of shows final seasons, people are by that time, more often than not, people are becoming huge actors, and they're either not there or whatever. I love the X-Files, but the last few seasons of the X-Files before it went off its original run were not really good. They were pretty bad. It's like, so just there's other shows too, but that's just kind of how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of times the actors are just dialing it in and stuff like that. So
yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited. The news that came out this past week too about the other TV shows that are coming out.
Yeah, HBO ordering a Dance with Dragons series, and it's funny because they said they weren't going to do that, but now it's like, well, okay, that's like the first place I'd go. It's like, look, all we really want is like Aegon's Conquest, Dunk and Egg, Blackfire Rebellion, or Dance with Dragons. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm way more excited for that than I am the Long Night.
Right. The thing with the Long Night is that it could be exciting. It really could. We just don't have any textual. We don't really know what it's like. It's gonna be 100 kingdoms versus 7, and so that's different to us. And we're sort of like, oh, what do we do? We don't really. That's. Who do we ally with? It's tough.
Robert's Rebellion's definitely. Because it says they have potentially 5 in the works. It's like Robert's Rebellion, not happening. There's no way because Gur hasn't even finished telling that story.
Yeah.
Dunk and Egg, not happening because he hasn't finished telling that story, and so that's why I don't think we'll see Blackfire Rebellion. I think when he is finished with that, it's possible because Dunk and Egg are a part of that. They're a part of those Blackfire rebellions. It takes place in the middle, certainly not the first one, but the second one. The second one is put down by Sir Duncan the Tall. So then some of those third and fourth ones come into play there too. So I think the Dance with Dragons, man, it's gonna be war. It's gonna be great. So
yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Hopefully that goes on for a bit, and then he has time to tell the story, and so we can go to that Dunk and Egg possible TV show or something. People would love that. They'd eat it up. It'd be crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all right. Well, anything else, Sir Ezra?
No, just I think this week, again, once depending on how things go this week, guys, I don't know. How do I put this? A lot of big decisions to make. I'm literally, if you heard me, if you go back and listen to this episode, about 3 times during it, I got kind of quiet. And I'm looking at my phone, and I got other things going on. I have so much going on right now, and Sir Matt can probably tell sometimes when I'm just sort of like, well, what happened to Ez? So I got some major decisions to make this week, and I'm gonna, I'm just gonna, I don't know. They have to be made, and it's just gonna rise up and make the decision. I'm gonna do what's best, and so know that that's happening. Also know that this week, most likely, I'm gonna have more time, and we'll be able to. we're hey, Matt,
next week, and the week after that, and the week after
Sir Matt, I'm at 98.3% right now. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
It keeps going up.
Okay.
So, but no, I was thinking about the Patreon series. We were excited to kind of work on that, and then some things just sort of boom hit me. Oh, also, so yeah, we've got a lot of stuff is coming out to you this September. So we're working on getting everything out there. I didn't even tell you this, Sir Matt. Our this happened today on our artist back from the dead, man.
Wow.
Yeah. Back.
Well. Sorry, we already ordered a bunch of stuff from other people.
Yeah,
but going forward.
I mean, basically, had like a life crisis and disappeared off the face of the earth. And, back and ready to go. Big letter was sent to us. Just got it before we started the show, so that's exciting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. So
good news.
All right, guys. Well, I think it's time here to to sign off. We just want to thank you for playing the Game of Thrones. In our next episode, we will be discussing Chapter 71, the penultimate episode, Catelyn 11.
Yeah, and we haven't done this in a while, but I want to thank Maluka just for providing the outro. And if you haven't had a chance to go over to YouTube and her Patreon page, you should definitely check that out at maluka.com. Bunch of cool stuff there from Skyrim and other cool fantasy stuff. So if you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a raven at btkcast@gmail.com.
We will see you in a week, and remember that winter is coming.